Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope everybody out there is doing just fine. I hope you're being prepared because there's a lot of major red flags that are going on right now that we all need to be talking about and the reasons why these red flags are flying. And I hope everybody's paying attention to this because this could affect everybody out here. This is something that is really taking place as we are speaking. Is Biden actually throwing us a little secret hint of what is to come? We have what aircraft carriers, and where are they? Well, I'm telling you, folks, the whole world has gone mad, and it's all starting in Israel and North Gaza. And that's coming up next. So all everybody, you just stay tuned and everybody get logged in here. And we're going to be talking about all these things and more. And I have a few questions for all of you that I want you to participate in towards the end of this video, this live stream. Hey, everybody. I hope everybody out there is doing good. And give me a number one, if you would, please, so that I know that everybody can hear me and everything else. And we're going to get going on this video. I got a lot of stuff to cover. And I really appreciate everybody being here, my moderators, all the members, and everything else. I see the number ones. Number one. All right. We've got number ones coming across the board. So, we all know what's going on out here. Everybody's probably heard it on the news. You've seen it on your phone. You've seen it on your computer, whatever. You can't get away from what is taking place, correct? And maybe there's reasons behind that. We all know how our phones and, any little thing that's in your house, if it is hooked up to the internet, it's listening. Whether it's your Alexa, your phone, your laptop, your computers, whatever it is, for some reason, it's listening. All right. There's programs in those things, and they're listening to what you're talking about or whatever else. And if you don't believe me, take your smartphone and sit there and have a conversation with somebody about buying a box of, I don't know, Hostess cakes and see what comes up on your feed the next time you're on there. Just saying, if you even think about, oh, I need to buy a winter coat, I got to get the kids boots or whatever else. What do you start seeing? Boom, there you go. If you make the mistake and you search for something, doesn't matter where it is, all of a sudden, boom, they know what's going on. So, in a sense, I do find it a little bit odd that neither Israel, the United States, or the United Kingdom, for a fact, had any inkling what is taking place in Gaza was about to happen. I just find it quite amusing in a sense because, let me explain, these people somehow or another pulled this thing off without anybody knowing about it, you know? Um, I just don't buy it, folks. I think there's something's going on there. And maybe is it done by design? I don't know. You've seen all these conspiracy theories out there that, Russia's behind all this. They planned it. You've seen where it's Iran. That would be more than believable. And everything else. Who knows? All I know is what took place was a catastrophic event that we do not want to live through again. Reminds me of World War II and what took place there. And we don't have to go into all the grave details and everything else because if any of you are my age or older, you know what I'm talking about. And if you're younger generation, you're watching this and you don't know anything about the World War II, I would highly suggest you Google that. But these are things that we do not want to go back to. Now, this is what is taking place. All of a sudden now, because Israel is mounting a huge offense, they've dropped millions of pamphlets over the northern part of the Gaza Strip and told everybody, hey, look, this is your time. You need to leave. Now, yes, I do agree to a certain extent that they should be supplying some type of food, water, medical supplies, maybe energy for hospitals and things of this nature. But I can also understand where Israel is coming from by cutting everything off, because Hamas basically would just go to those areas and use those supplies and everything else for themselves and not give it to their people. You see, they don't really care about their people. If they did, they wouldn't have done what they have done and put millions of people in harm's way. Um, it's just a common sense theology here. If a president doesn't care about his people and stuff, he's going to do whatever he wants, and they're going to pay the ultimate price. You get what I'm saying here? So, anyways, there has been major protests going on all around the world, especially over in the Middle East. Now, on Friday, which happened to be Friday the 13th, you know, the whole regime over there, the Palestinian regime and everything, they called for a jihad. And there was millions of people in the street in Baghdad, in Yemen, in Lebanon, in Syria, all across there, in Iran, all those countries. Turkey's on the fence here. Turkey is kind of stuck in the middle here. Um, they don't really want to be a part of any of this, but somehow or another, they're going to get dragged into whatever happens in the coming days. Now, what has been stated, which is a major red flag, because Syria has already dropped some bombs over into northern Israel, and northern Israel returned the favor. And Lebanon has done the same thing, and Israel returned the favor again. But here's the thing: when the major push goes in to the northern Gaza Strip, and they're putting most of their military might into that area. Now, I'm sure it's not all of it, because they do have military at the northern end of Israel, up by Lebanon, Syria, with Jordan and all that right up there. They, um, but the most of their might is going to be going into the Gaza Strip. Most of their men, their tanks, and all that kind of stuff. They're going to be looking down there to the south of Israel. Whereas when the north comes in, um, they have the Palestinians in a lot of these different countries have stated that they will retaliate and start bombing the northern Israel up that way towards Tel Aviv and up around that area. Now, what does that mean for us? Think about this. All of a sudden now we have sent not one, but two aircraft carriers and their battle groups. So two complete battle groups to the region. One was already been there, and the other one is due to arrive within the next 24 to 48 hours. Now, I don't know if they are Israel is going to wait until that second battle groups gets there, because we have our president over here, Biden, that's saying that they stand behind Israel and everything else. And then he put a thing out on Twitter today. And the way he was talking kind of makes you wonder if he wasn't hinting around with his verbiage that he was using, that, hey, people, wake up. Something could be coming, just so you know, without coming out and saying exactly that. And why is that important? Because all these red flags and stuff, these red flags are popping up everywhere. And I don't want people out here in this community to sit back and get too relaxed on the theology that nothing can happen here. Nothing can happen in America. None of that will ever come here. We don't know that. This is a totally new day and age than what it was from World War II. Yes, we have more men. We have better fighting power. We have more missiles and rockets and planes and ships and tanks and submarines and all the fun stuff. Yes, we do have that. But that doesn't mean that while everybody is kind of watching what's going on down there, don't forget about the rest of the little world out here that would really like to wipe us off the face of the planet. If you get what I'm saying, you know, if we're walking into a barn, let's leave the doors open so we can see what's going on. Let's not go in there and close the door. And then we got problems. Here's what we got to be doing. If you haven't started prepping by now, you're really behind the eight ball. I have noticed in a couple of stores that I have gone into, the amount of like canned goods, foods, and things of this nature is shrinking on the shelves, and they're filling it up with more of the BS stuff that nobody really wants, but it makes the shelves look full. Certain sections of stores they're shrinking. Now, does that mean they just don't have the product? Does that mean they're having issues getting the product? Does that mean they don't have enough people to put it out on the floor? Who knows? But here's the thing. It doesn't matter what the reason is, folks. What matters is it's shrinking, and your time to prepare is slowly dwindling down the pike. Now, if you turn around and you start prepping, say tomorrow, you're like, okay, I'm going to go to the store. I got to start doing something. I got to get some stuff put up and everything else. You got to make an initiative to try to secure what you can now before something haywire goes on in this world. Now, I'm not saying we're going into World War III or anything else. All right. I'm not going to sit here and speculate. I'm just telling you what's really going on right now. All right. I'm not here to be a fear monger. I'm not here to be a conspiracy theorist or anything else. I'm sure that'll pop up in the comments somewhere. But this is what I really want. And this is the message that I have in this video today is these are some of the reasons why we really got to be paying attention and being prepared. In this day and age, being prepared is key to surviving whatever they get us into, whether we like it or we don't. You see, we're along for the ride, folks. We don't get to choose if this goes through or not. And if you think about it, at this point in time, we're a lame dunk because the duck is really lame because we don't have a Speaker of the House. Because for some reason, the House can't get their act together. I don't care what they have to do. It doesn't matter to me if the Democrats have to reach over the Republicans or the Republicans got to reach over to. I don't care what it is. What we need to realize is the longer we don't have a Speaker of the House, we are a lame duck because nothing can get done. Now, obviously, if something major, catastrophic was about to happen, if for some reason somebody shot off a rocket at us or something like that, I'm pretty sure the president can go ahead and make that decision to either shoot it down, retaliate, or whatever they have to do to protect us American people. In the meantime, we only have a few more weeks until the deadline for our fiscal budget that hasn't even been discussed. Okay, they kick the can down the road as both sides always do. It seems like it's an ongoing thing now. It's like we can't come to agreement on any type of a budget, and then we're kicking the can down the road, and then something usually happens and we get something settled. Well, right now it's not looking real great. So that's what I'm saying here is, I mean, it doesn't matter to me what side of the fence you're on or anything else and what your political view is. The point being is we don't have a Speaker of the House. I don't care whose fault it is, but this has got to stop because these other countries are watching what's going on, and if something majorly goes down and we don't have a speaker and then things start to go south, the president can only do so much. The House and the Senate have to approve any type of war measures or something like this, unless it is a like a nuclear strike or something like that. Okay, because obviously you're not going to have time to reach out to all the members in both the House and the Senate and then try to get something done before something hits the ground. So that's when the president's got to make a split second decision because time is of the essence, if you get what I'm saying. Some of these rockets are flying at, warp speed here, but we got to get our act together because we're the laughing stock of the world. We're supposed to have this great democracy and everything else. And, we're like the leader of everything and the powerhouse of the world. And we can't even elect a speaker of the House. Now, what happens when Israel finally makes that push to go into Gaza, the northern part? I understand all the atrocities that were put upon the people of Israel, the women, the children, the elderly, how they were just so brutal. I also understand that there are women and children and the elderly in Palestine that are suffering because of these Hamas from the group because they don't care. And I'm really, a lot of people, depending on, some people are on the side of the Israels and some people are on the side of the Palestine and the whole nine yards. Here's my thing, folks. They're people. I'm not talking about the people that cause this. I'm talking about all the women and children, especially the kids. I'm sorry. I've said it before. I got a soft spot for kids. You start doing stuff to kids, and I don't know. I don't agree with that one bit. Period. I mean, I have that's a very hard pill for me to swallow. But these people need to have someplace safe to go. And I understand that, Israel doesn't want them there. Egypt, they don't want them over there. So where are these people supposed to go? Build a bunch of boats and hit the water? You see what I'm saying? Because I can already tell you what's going to happen here. Now, look at it from a military point stand. If the enemy knows you're coming in with 100, 200,000 troops, tanks, and missiles, rockets, and whatever else, and you're coming into the north part, where are you going to go? These people don't care about their people, so they're going to go with their people. They've been known, they set up their workshops and they store their ammo and their guns and everything else in schools and hospitals and all this stuff. That's a known fact. We've known that for years. But here's the thing, folks. These people need some type of a way out. I don't know how or what, but I think it is going to be, unfortunately, a huge bloodbath when they go in there. And what happens if they have bombs on some of these innocent civilians? Because they're told if they don't put the bomb on and walk down the street or whatever else, they're going to kill their kids. You see where I'm going with this? These are some really sick individual people that have done this to not only the Israels in Israel, but also to the Palestine people. It's not something you really hear too much about, is trying to look at it from both sides here and trying to come up with a reasoning. Hamas wants to wipe Israel and the Jews off the face of the planet. Well, Hitler tried that, And he did that through how many countries and everything else. And, yes, I mean, he killed millions and millions of Jews, but they're still here. It's we all are on this earth. I don't care if you're white, black, green, gray, whatever color you may be, whatever nationality you may be, or anything else. We're all on this earth together. And it's either we got to learn how to get along or we're going to be our own destruction, is us. Yeah, all those big buildings will still be here. All those electric cars will be around for a while, but there ain't going to be nobody to drive them. Because eventually, the way this world's going at this point in time, we're just going to kill each other off. And for what? There's nothing left. Look at the north end of Gaza now. When you see all the drone pictures and everything else that they've been putting all over the media, on your computer, on your cell phone. I mean, everywhere I look, you see this stuff. You can flip through YouTube Shorts. You can flip through Facebook. You can flip through anything, Instagram, all these. It's everywhere. It's already leveled. There's nothing left there. What is those people supposed to come back to? The people that don't want Hamas, their homes are gone. They're just a big pile of rubble. And what is the end game? This is the major question. What is the end game once they finally succeed in doing whatever their plan is as far as Israel invading Gaza? Okay, if they get rid of Hamas and everything else, what is going to take place? Well, at that point in time, they're going to have to police and run Gaza. But there's nothing left of it. Where are they going to put all these people? It's a great question. And I wouldn't want to be one of those families that you don't know what you're going to do. You see them riding on flatbeds. They load up those flatbed trucks and everything, and all those people and women and children, and there's men in there, and they're old people, and they're just riding on these things, trying to get out of the north and headed to the south. And they finally put a dividing line. If you go to this side of this river, there's a river that runs through there. You get across that river and you'll be safe. Supposedly, that's what they're telling them. Where do you think Hamas is going to be? They're going to be across the river. Israel's going to come in. Oh, there'll probably be still a few people left up in the front that get to die for their country or Allah or whoever. But here's the thing. Most of all these higher up people aren't going to be sticking around for the war. They're going to be going south. Now, I do realize that they do have plenty of tunnel systems and everything else throughout the whole Gaza area. And maybe they're going to be using those. It's going to be very, very interesting. These major red flags that I have been talking about is something that we really need to really consider a important warning for you and your family. For anybody out that is watching, maybe you're not a member. It doesn't matter. I'm concerned. I want people to be prepared. I want people to understand the importance of what is taking place and how you all can survive this just by doing a little bit and getting ready. Now, I know that a lot of you out here that are on this live stream right now, especially in the chat and stuff, I know a lot of you are really prepared. And I also know that probably a lot of you are still trying to top off and fill in the weak spots. But if we don't take the initiative with these red flags that are flying right now, this is like in the NFL All these coaches now walk around with a red flag, and they throw the red flag every time there's a play or something they don't like because they want it re-looked at. Well, here's the thing, folks. The red flags have been thrown, but that doesn't mean you're going to get a replay and get a chance to prep. Once the play is played in life, and what we're dealing with here, there's no going back. So it's either you get prepared now, top off your preps, make sure that you've got what you think you're going to need for however long, whatever you can afford. I'm not telling you to go out and run all your credit cards up or, empty out your bank account or anything else. But I'm telling you is to be smart, be wise, be thrifty with your money, and buy the sales. I've done several videos. I've talked about this, I don't know how many times. Shop the coupons. Everybody's got, if you got a smartphone, there's apps for every freaking store out there known to man now. You can log into the little app and you can sit there and you can get rebates, you can get coupons, you can load it all right into your thing. And when you walk up, they scan the thing, boom, everything comes off. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. If you're looking to save money. But here's the thing. First question I have is, what do you all think is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back in this situation? Is it going to be one, Hamas killing the hostages? Or is it going to be Israel going into the North Gaza Strip, which is going to infuriate the other countries that are around that are Palestinian? You tell me. Excuse me. But here's the thing, folks. We all can sit back here and we got two things that we can really do. We can sit here and we can listen to this. We can listen to other YouTube channels. We can listen to whatever, your favorite news station, whoever you trust. And you can sit back and you have to make your own decision on, do I really need to do this? Is this really happening now? And you can waste all the time and everything else in doing those things. Pondering and taking the whole thing and trying to process it and trying to make sense of what is taking place. Or you can do just the opposite. You can say, you know what? I heard it here on Survival Preparedness for Beginners. I've heard it from all these other different channels. It's on the news. It's here. It's on my phone. It's in the newspaper. If you get a newspaper, it's making headlines everywhere. And why is that? Maybe now is a good time for me to really take inventory of what I have in this house. I got 2 kids and I got to make sure that I've got food and supplies and, at least band-aids or something, kids are going to fall down and get hurt. It's a fact of life. You got to have those boo-boo sticks, at least. But these are things that you have to really think about. And I would say that you want to go with the latter of the two. You want to make sure that you're just sitting back going, you know what? Yeah, I think I got to do something. We have to be prepared and everything else. And we got to get ready. And if it doesn't happen, what are you out? As I have said before, when you're doing your preps, don't buy stuff you're not going to eat. Why throw the money away? Buy what you're going to eat and prep that. So at least you know and learn how to use what you have in your preps, how to make meals. It's very simple. You get creative. I mean, there's a lot of people out here, and I have a lot of friends. When you put a plate, they put stuff on their plate, everything has to be segregated. Nothing can touch anything else. If this thing goes south in any way, shape, or form, in any point in time in the future, um, if they slop it on your plate, trust me, you're going to eat it. So that's why I'm saying if you try to cook with stuff that you like and you have to, maybe you only got one pot, you got one pot to cook in. It's not like you're at home or whatever. Maybe you only have one burner. There are one burner stoves. A lot of people have them. Maybe you have that one burner. Well, you can cook one thing at a time. And if everybody's starving and hungry, you want to put everything in there you can and get it cooked as soon as possible because everybody is hungry. They're not going to wait for you to cook this in this pan. All right, we'll put this over here on this plate. And now we're going to cook this and everything else. Nope, you're going to be throwing everything together, making one pot meals. And there you go. I'm just saying. Now, yes, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't go together. And I'll give you that one, you know. But then again, I would also make sure that you're falling back to what I've always said is you prep what you will eat. Do not buy spam if you're not ever going to eat it, even if it was the last thing there was and you wouldn't eat it. Don't buy it. Buy chicken, buy roast beef, buy hamburger, buy tuna fish. There's other things that you can buy. Corned beef. You can get a lot of meals that are already in cans for canned goods. That's going to last you for 4 or 5 years if you store them correctly. Now, obviously, if you store them and they freeze, well, they're no good. Obviously, if you store them and you live in Florida, and you keep them in your garage, they're not going to last that long. It's got to be a controlled area. So if you live somewhere where you can have a basement, you can't have those in Florida, but if you live somewhere where you have a basement and stuff, that is a really good place as long as it doesn't flood or something, and it's not real damp, to store your products because it's usually pretty temperature controlled year round. Doesn't get cold enough to freeze, and doesn't in the summertime. It stays at a nice cool temperature compared to the outdoor or inside your home temperature if you don't have AC. So that's just a valuable option right there. I do see where a lot of people are starting to build root cellars like they used to have way back when, because those are a great thing that you can use and you can store your food and it's underground. And that's why a basement works well. So if you don't have a basement, if you could do a root cellar, because obviously it's going to be cheaper to put a root cellar in than to have the underneath of your house dug out and made into a basement. So the cheaper way to go, unless you're Bill Gates or somebody like that, is you're just going to have a root cellar. And you could also use that root cellar as a storm shelter or as a shelter in case something bad does happen. It's better than nothing. But here's the thing, these red flags have been flying for a while now. And before, everything was the Russian Ukraine war, which nobody is talking about. You barely even see that on any media anywhere. I get hardly any notifications whatsoever about anything to do with Ukraine. It's like the war is over there, isn't it? I mean, what do you people think? Give me a number one if you think it's when we're talking between Russia and Ukraine and Israel and Gaza. Which one is the one that's going on? Israel and Gaza. There's nothing about Ukraine and Russia. Kind of funny. Not getting skeptical here, but maybe they needed time to take things away from them. I do know that the Russians have moved all their um, navy that was down towards Crimea and stuff, and they put them over back over towards on their land, on their side there, because now that Ukraine is starting to get all these missile systems and all these rockets and planes and whatever else. Well, Crimea, all of a sudden, now the port there was like, ooh, guess what? This is very easy to hit now. And we're still on technically our land. I mean, Russia just moved in there and said, oh, it's ours now. It's like, okay, really? Um, sometimes I have to sit back and laugh at some of these things when it takes place and how they look at things. Oh, we moved in and it's ours now. Oh, you redrawn the whole world map now? Is that how we're going to do this? I don't know. All I know is, folks, the world has gone mad. The red flags are flying, and you have to start paying attention to what's going on. I do know that in my community, there are a lot of you who do not like listening, watching anything with the news or anything else. But please just do me one favor. At least turn it on once a day for about 15 minutes. You pick the channel and see if you can get an update and make sure that, you know what, you're still safe for a little while longer. We're not in World War III, and, the world isn't coming to an end. Just saying. Because we have to stay informed. Information is key in a prepper's world to surviving. The reason you prep is to survive. You don't prep to like hand it out to everybody around you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is up to you to make your own decisions on who you are willing to help. If you want to help your neighbor out, whoever, that is ultimately your decision based on what you have in your preps, based on what you have done, based on how long you can provide for you and your family. Just saying. At that point, if you feel you have an adequate supply that's going to get you through whatever situation this may be, and you want to reach out and you want to try helping somebody, by all means, do it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to do it. There are channels out there that say, well, you can't share anything. You can't do this. You can't do that and everything else. That is your decision, not mine. I don't run you. I don't own you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, you have to do this. No, that's your decision. That's why we live in this country. If you feel the need to help out a neighbor or whatever else, or to take them in, because if you look at it, depending on the situation, if you do take some of these people in and you're helping them, you're providing them, say, food and medical supply, whatever it could be, well, then maybe you just started building a small little community while all this is taking place. And there's a thing to say for a group with numbers compared to somebody with none. It kind of takes the target off your back. But like I said, that is ultimately your own decision on what you do with what you have prepped and what you have been doing. I would like to also want to make sure that people are aware of the time of year that we're coming into. And if this does go south, there's a lot of people out here that are speculating that it could be where certain countries could go after Iran and hit the oil supply and the oil pipelines in Iran, which would cause in our country, which would cause the prices to escalate quite quickly. And we are coming into winter. A lot of people in the northern hemisphere heat their homes with fuel oil. And even if you use electricity, something to really think about is what happens if the power grid goes down because it's overloaded because everybody is trying to use electric now instead of fuel oil because either they can't get it or they can't afford it. Having a wood stove, a fireplace, um, even a pellet stove or something is a great addition in your home to stay warm with a wood stove or a fireplace you can cook on if you had to. The thing of it is we have to really look at everything in a whole. We have to dot our i's, cross our t's, and we have to really try to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Because I'm not going to say here, and I'm not going to say here and try to scare people. That's not my objective. My objective is to make sure that people are aware that they're doing what they really need to be doing so that they are prepared. You have your food, you have your water, you have your medical, you have some way to purify water because maybe water would run for a while if things shut down, just depending on their generators or whatever they have in your local area to push the water through. And if it doesn't, when the water starts coming and you don't have water backed up in your house as far as any supplies, extra gallons of water, maybe you collect rainwater, whatever it may be, when that all runs out, if there's no way to refill it, you're going to have to find a water source somewhere, and you need a good system to filter your water so that it doesn't kill you. Because you see, water is a two-edged sword. And what I mean by that, folks, is think about it. You can't survive without water, period. You can survive 5 times longer without food than you can without water. On the other hand, if you take and you drink contaminated water, it's going to kill you. See what I'm saying? So make sure that you do have some way. I don't care if you have the tablets, you can filter it with a sock, pantyhose, whatever, to get all the debris and crap out and use the filtering tablets. If you've got a Berkeley sitting on your countertop, if you've got a Sawyer, whatever, you got to have something in case you run out. Because water is the most important thing is water. I mean, you listen to all these people and everything else, and people that do interviews and all this, and they all talk about, okay, well, the gas prices are going to go up. People can't afford the gas. The food prices, yeah, there's going to be food shortages and everything else. Oh, the electric grid is going to crash. It's going down, folks. It's going there, here and there. If these people really wanted to really do damage, they could leave all that stuff up. Turn off the water. A lot of those people that are in Palestine and the Gaza Strip, the Palestinians, more than likely, a lot of them, unless they can finally get water, a lot of them are going to die from dehydration, not starvation, dehydration. You're in an active war zone. The stuff that you are breathing in is probably really highly, you know, full of all types of chemicals and everything else. That dust is just like it's its own killer besides the bomb. And you don't have water to wash your face off, to rinse your nose out, to your ears, and everything. You don't have fresh water. You're looking for a mud puddle that has all this in it. You see what I'm saying? That's why we have to be prepared. We learn from what is going on. Well, most of us learn from what is going on. I'm very concerned about the younger generation, and I'm talking about people 21 and younger. Because you all, well, for one, you're the future. For two, you guys got to get your act together. For the simple point, me and the wife today went to Winn Dixie, did some grocery shopping, paid cash. Kid had a hard time counting out the change to give it back to us. And I think it was something like 33 cents. I'm just saying. Technology nowadays is dumbing down our society. And I truly believe that these governments of the world, that's what they want. They don't want smart, intelligent, well academic people. They don't want people to think. They want people to do what they're told. And that's where being a prepper, your goal is to make sure you're making your own good decisions. You are making what you have to do for your family. You're stockpiling what you need to stockpile. You're making sure that all your basic necessities are covered from A to Z. And then you go back through it again and make sure that you didn't miss something. Because I'll tell you what, if you start logging, I did this video a couple years ago. If you start taking a log, a journal, whatever you want to do, I use a notepad, a little dinky notepad like this, whatever it is, and you start writing down everything you've got. Now there is programs and stuff out there that you can get, and you can scan the stuff, and it goes into your system, and you can have it on your computer and everything else. That is great as long as you have a backup system for those computers or those things, because what happens if there's no power? You can't access your list. What are you going to do? You're going to say you don't know what you got? You go back as a prepper to the old style, pen and paper. And you can buy these notebooks that I've done videos on, they're right in the rain. You can get them right off Amazon. They're relatively cheap. Cool thing is, you can write in that thing all you want. You can put in there anything you want, recipes. You can put phone numbers. You can put medicines. You can put whatever you want in there. But you know what the good thing is? Oh, it'll burn. But here's the thing, you can throw it in a river and you can pull it out and you can read it. It doesn't run or anything, it doesn't absorb any water. It's a beautiful thing. It's on my Amazon storefront. If you guys want to click in there, I mean, you guys go in there, you can find it in there. If you don't want to go in and start doing your own searching, I have that storefront for that purpose. I don't make any money off that. I did that whole storefront and took that time and made that for you guys. So you didn't have to think about some of the stuff I put in there, a lot of good stuff. A lot of the stuff I have, a lot of stuff I don't, but by reading and doing my homework on some of those things, I would buy those objects, products, materials, whatever. That's why I did that, to make your life a lot easier so that you can be prepared, because you need to be spending your time on other things and research. I'm trying to do the research for you and a lot of the things that I do to keep you aware, to keep you up to date and everything else. And unfortunately, right now, with my whole situation and everything, things are happening very fast and things are changing very fast. And I'm not able right now to really do a lot of the things I really want to do, but I'm going to get there. Maybe having some exciting news by next weekend. And I hope that everybody is prepping and is ready for what is the days that are coming, because I have a very, very bad gut feeling. And I've talked about your gut feeling before about when Israel goes into Gaza in the northern section and starts to, I don't know if you want to say liberate, free, or kill Hamas, however you want to look at it. But I got this bad feeling that some of these other countries aren't going to like that too much, and they're going to want to try to get involved. And here we go. We're being drug into another war. Let's hope not. I think with that being said, I'm going to jump over here real quick because I'm running out of time here. And I want to take in some questions. So if you guys got any questions or anything you want to say, put it in all caps, please. I'm going to try to go back through and try to catch some good ones here, and let's see what we got. All right. Roger Lamb, they hate us too. I would probably have to agree, Roger. Let's see here. Damien, how you doing, Damien? Use a pencil on paper works the same. We sign off paperwork in the Air Force using pencils. Amen, brother. All right. The Watchman, people are starving and other people are donating their money to these big fat churches that do nothing. I mean, I just like would see where some of this money and stuff is going. Where is this? I'd like to actually see this being handed out over there to either the people in Israel, to the God people in Gaza, or whatever. They need something, you know. Let's see here. Let's see as I'm going up. I just want to see if I'm catching anything up here. Catherine, I agree. She's the only one in your class using paper and pen. And they're probably just like, oh, well, what's that person doing? You can use Excel and all these kind of things, but if you have the knowledge to do it the old way, you're going to be so much better off, because then if something happens, you can just take and grab a pen, paper. You can use a wall, whatever you got to do to figure out whatever it is you need to figure out. Is a very good point. Miss Reed, Miss Red, I use a notebook too. Every bit of info, ideas, resources, etc. Husband thinks I'm a bit nuts. Well, I don't. I totally agree. Now, there's nothing, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that technology thing. But if the technology thing ain't there, you got your notebook. You got it all written down. It's all right here. Let's see here. Yeah, I saw that one pop across too, JT. I thought that was kind of interesting. Mm. Watchman, once again, most will not be able to afford to prep now so late in the game. Yes, but you need to try to do whatever you possibly can do. Um, let's see here. Dale Stoner, 21 and under are only worried about when the new iPhone comes out. I would have to say that I agree. Um, but at some point in time, this technology thing, I mean, what would happen? Honestly, here's an honest question. What would happen if you woke up tomorrow morning and there was no internet? You turn your computer on, you grab your cell phone, and there was nothing. You turned it on and it just said no service. How many people out there would be freaking out? Really freaking out. Dana, let's prep. I would have to agree to a certain point. There's pros and cons to both scenarios here, Dana. You have your warm states, of blue states, what if you're whatever you're looking for. You got to take that with also a grain of salt because states like Florida, they're very overpopulated. All right, so you're moving into a very hostile situation. Now, there are parts of Florida that you can move to if you have the money to buy up some land and live out into the country and things of this nature. If not, more than likely, you're going to get stuck in one of the big, huge areas, Central Florida, Southern Florida. I don't care if you're around Jacksonville, Tampa, if you're up in the Panhandle would probably be a better choice than anywhere else. Um, for one, you have, if you have to go north, you have a lot more area, different directions that you can go. Whereas if you're like in Central Florida, if you're in like Miami, if you're in the Keys or something like that, and something really happens, there's only one way out, and that's north. You can't go east, west, you can't go south, you can't go, and you got to go north. You're stuck. And it's a very long state to be driving in if something's going on. So, really ponder what you're saying there. And I mean, what you're saying, you do have good points on both sides. Bakamas, good to see you. I still have a landline. We don't get cell service out here very often. Having a landline is a good thing because most of the time, even when the power goes out, your landline will still work and you can still reach out and make telephone calls and everything else. Whereas with a cell service, if the tower goes out, you're screwed. I'd be sad because I wouldn't watch my favorite channels or talk with my beloved favorite moderators. There you go. Yes, it would have um a huge impact. And Michelle says, I still have a telephone landline in case I lose my internet. That's very good. I moved to Tennessee. It's a great state. Um, I've heard really good things about Tennessee. Um, Roger, I agree. Tech is good, but can be your worst nightmare. Baby Doc says, I have a landline too. Even FEMA website tells you to prep. Yes, exactly. I mean, you're not prepping just because of what's going on over in Israel and Gaza and Ukraine and Russia. You're prepping to cover all your different bases. I mean, this is the thing I get all the time, and I get like hate emails and everything else. People are just like, yo, you're scaring people and everything, and with the prepping, and you don't need to prep, nothing's gonna happen, and everything else. Well, let me just end with this. Okay, let's end with this. If prepping is so bad and you shouldn't be doing it compared to, a lot of the hate emails and comments that I have received that don't really bother me anymore. Some of them I do answer and some I don't. Here's the thing, folks. How many floods did we have this year? How many severe thunderstorms did we have this year? How many tornadoes went through? How many flash floods were there? Hmm. You see, there's reasons why you want to make sure that you're prepping. And it's not just because I'm sitting here and you think that I'm telling you the world's going to end tomorrow. Go to Walmart now. I am not saying that. What I am saying is your preps will carry over. They will help you out of a bad situation any day of the week for any scenario possible. Now, obviously, if you have a big ass earthquake and or earth opens up underneath your house and you go with it, well, you're pretty much gone. But let's be realistic. We have a better chance of fires and floods and tornadoes and hurricanes and everything else. We've been very lucky here in Florida. I just knocked on the table because it's wood, but the season isn't over yet. And the way this season, the way the weather's been going lately, who's to say we can't get something in December or January? I mean, come on. It's like a flip of a coin nowadays to try to figure out what the weather's going to be like. I'm going to end with this one thing. With everything that is going on in this world, I think it would be very nice if we remember what a lot of these people, what a lot of these people out there in this world right now are going through. All the sadness, the lack of no homes, family members dying, no food, no water, nowhere to go, trying to figure out what you're going to do with your family. And I'm not just talking about what's taking place with Israel and the Palestinians. You have Russia, Ukraine. Not everybody is bad out there, folks. There's a few bad apples that are trying to ruin everything in this world for us. But if we can't start finding the good and praying for our brothers and sisters, for the other human beings that are out here, we're in a world of hurt. We're preppers. We're not barbarians. Think about that. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I also want to thank all my moderators for being here, JT, Jan, Coffee First and Speak. I also want to thank all of the members that have stuck with me through thick and thin. I appreciate that. And I'm hoping to get back to making some special content for just you. It's a work in progress. A lot of things are changing in our realm of the world right now with me and my wife. There's a lot of things that are happening, starting to happen very fast. Some of the things we don't have a choice on. You got to do what you got to do. But I'm always going to be here. I'm not going anywhere. I'll get back to making content on a regular basis. But I appreciate everything that you all do for this channel, for sticking around, for riding out the storm. Because if we don't have each other, folks, the ship's going to sink. Mark my words. That is true. One man trying to patch 100 holes in a boat is going to go down with his ship. If that man has an army, the boat will make it safely to the other side. So in your prayers tonight, say one for me and my family, but also remember everybody that's suffering out there. Doesn't matter what side you're on. We got to kind of get this world back to something that is recognizable as a human state. We all have to live on this big blue thing we call Earth. So until next Saturday night, folks, I hope everybody stays safe. You all keep prepping. Once again, thank you again. I thank all my moderators, thank all the members, and I thank all of you that have tuned in. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel and you're watching right now, please hit that subscription button Click that little notification. This way you get notified when the videos and live streams come out. And I hope everybody out there has heeded this major red flag warning. And ask yourself as I sign off, are you paying attention to what is going on? Your family depends on your decisions. Till next Saturday night, I'll see you all live right here at 8 p.m. Y'all have a great week. Thank you once again.